Hello, hello. We're going to call our meeting to order. I know last board meeting of this school year. Woo woo. So, yes, yeah. All right, Mr. Parker, we'll start with you.
All
as
right.
always.
So we've got recognition tonight, a little different than I don't know that we've done a recognition quite like this one before, but Mike Caudle is a deputy with Scott County Sheriff's Office and has served as the school resource officer at Eastern Elementary for 3 years. And if I was any kind of superintendent, I would have prepped it with the picture of him holding his lunch pail the first day of school from a couple of years back. I've used that in some other presentations. But before coming back to Eastern, he retired as a lieutenant over the Detective Bureau after a 23-year career with the Scott County Sheriff's Office. And yes, I did say coming back to Eastern. Caudle attended Eastern as a student and is a proud member of the Scott County High School class of 1994. Do we have another? Greg, are you 94 too? Okay, I wasn't sure. Oh, okay. So there we go.
What'd you say, Renee?
94.
Well,
They're a
I'm
bunch of babies, aren't they, Wendy?
I believe
Yes, we're 90,
But-
1990.
Greg was an Eastern Elementary student as well, so he, I don't know if he would say that Mike was, the bully on the playground or the one saving us from the bullies, but he was probably one of the two.
With DT. was.
Anyway, Mr. Caudle has Officer Caudle has dedicated his life and career in service to our community and brought this dedication to Eastern when he became their beloved SRO. This year, Deputy Caudle was also named the School Resource Officer of the Year for our region, an honor bestowed by the Kentucky Association of School Resource Officers. To say that students love SRO Caudle is an understatement. He builds relationships, keeps students safe, and serves Eastern with care and consistency. In his spare time, he even created a junior deputies after-school club going above and beyond expectation. I will say, I oftentimes talk about Officer Caudle as going above and beyond expectation because there are the requirements that come with the job, and then there are things that, I don't know if he did this year, but I believe he still did. He used to deliver notes in the afternoon, just doing things that really are nowhere in the job description of SRO, but again, leans into that relationship building component. For his support of Eastern, his dedication to excellence, and his recent award as SRO of the Year, tonight we congratulate School Resource Officer Mike Caudle. Don't have a lunch bell picture too?
My wife has from every year.
Oh.
I do a different lunch bell every year, and that's my original.
That's pretty cool.
Oh.
Congratulations. Done? Okay. Number 4, agenda approval.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 5, public comment. Daisy Weber. Oh, she's not here. Wait. Oh, she signed up but left? Oh, okay. I gotcha. Okay, all is good. All right, thank you. Mike Davis? Mike, you get 10 minutes tonight since you're all alone. I'm teasing.
I don't need that. I don't have a speech or nothing. Since everybody knows what I want. And what I ask,
What do we want?
Exactly. So,
Oh, okay.
she can go.
She can go after you.
Yeah, that's fine.
okay.
Sorry, my son's speaking.
It's okay. So 3 minutes.
That's fine. That's no problem. That's no problem. Whatever you put up there, I don't care. I just wanted to come to you tonight. Like I said, I didn't prepare a speech. I didn't write anything fancy. I didn't prepare a 5, 3, or 2, just depending on what would happen. I just wanted to say, first of all, I thank you all for everything that you all have done for us over the years of me serving with SEA. I've been in this district since 2013 in several capacities. I've been involved with SEA since 2021. I'm very thankful to have came to Scott County as a teacher, and I've been very blessed I have a son who graduated from here. Like I said, I have a grandson who's in preschool. And I could sing a ton of praises in all the schools I've been in. We have great leaders. We have amazing teachers. We have amazing faculty. From everybody that I interact with are just amazing people. And I find, as now that I'm the Central District's president and I'm out in all these other school systems at times, it's very good to come home and see what we have and how special it is. I've had a lot of talks with Wendy. We see in the news what's going on just down the road, and I'm very thankful for us to. When I talk about being good stewards of the taxpayers' money, that's important because I don't ever want to have to be involved with that. And but I've discussed with all of you over the course of time, and I know that there's a salary schedule in there, and I know that the tentative budget doesn't have to be done till May the 30th. So I'm going to implore you again to look at the fact that our most vulnerable people, our classified people, I believe it's important that you give them a dollar amount raise as opposed to percentage raise. I still think that's important at the time where our economy is not where it should be. I have to go to the same places to shop. We all go to Kroger or Aldi's or Walmart, or we get our gases at the same place, But quite frankly, I make a whole lot more money than they do. And I don't have to make those decisions about whether or not I'm going to pay the electric bill or buy deli meat or generic or whatever. I get to do that whatever I want. I don't work a 4-hour or 6-hour shift. I don't have to worry about whether or not I'm going to be able to pay my insurance for health. I feel very blessed about my job, and some of them don't have that opportunity. And I know they love working here, and I know they love working for our kids. And I know every year, and we'll hear it again this August, about how important or how wonderful our janitors are for what they've done to our buildings, how beautiful they've made them over the summer so that whenever we all walk into them, they're awesome. We'll talk about how the only hot meal that some of our children receive is because of our cooks. We'll talk about how awesome the secretaries make sure that everything's running in our schools, how our bus drivers are the first ones and the last ones to see our kids. And all those are all true, and we all believe that when we say that. But I just really believe, in all fairness, that if you was to, there's a whole lot of things you can say and there's a whole lot of things you can do. And, psychologically and whatever else you want to call it. I mean, I just believe a dollar amount goes a lot different when you're talking to a classified staff as opposed to a percentage raise. And it's not that I don't appreciate anything y'all do, because I do. I very much so do. We've been very blessed. And I thank y'all for that. I told Mr. Parker in our meeting today, ever since he's been the superintendent, we've gotten some sort of raise and several things other than just the raise since he's been there. I'm appreciative of the maternity leave, the fact that we've got SROs in every school that we have. I'm very appreciative of what we've done. But I implore you, as from the heart, to say, like I said, and it's just me, that while you finish the budget, if you can look at it differently and think about those classified staff, I think it'd be very important to look at that as opposed to a percentage raise as a dollar amount, if you could. I thank you for everything, and I appreciate all that y'all do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Daisy, would you like to go ahead and come on up? Okay. Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I want to go ahead and let you know just kind of how we do this when you want to come and speak to the board. You're more than welcome to talk to us about your concerns and things you want to share with us. However, we won't be talking back and forth with you, so I just want to make that perfectly clear so there's no misconceptions. You do have 5 minutes to speak, or less if you want, by the look on your face.
I was going to say, I don't know if I'll need that.
It's all fine. But you're welcome to go right ahead.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
And I wanted to further say thank you all for offering this. And I want to reiterate what Mr. Mike Davis had said, that we're very grateful for all the raises and everything that has happened over the past years. And I just appreciate all the work you do to further improve our schools and the lives of our students and our communities. And I am a kindergarten teacher at Southern Elementary. I've had the joy of teaching for 12 years now, and 7 of those years being in Scott County. And I absolutely love it here. And I'm so grateful to be able to raise my son and work in this district and to have him go to school with me in a couple of years. So that'll be new. That'll be different. I'm not quite as eloquent as Mr. Mike Davis, but I'm speaking tonight to kind of reiterate and echo what he has said as well as an SCA member on behalf of our fellow hardworking staff. And I wanted to reiterate how helpful specifically the classified increases would be for our very hardworking folks. So as a kindergarten teacher, I work directly with our aides every day. I know every classified person in our building, and I see how hard they work day in and day out. And and it's a sad hard fact that there are staff who, after 2 weeks, in the 2-week pay period, they take home $500 in their checks after taxes are taken out. And so, like Mr. Mike Davis said, this is hard to live on. And we are very, very blessed at every school to have folks who are super passionate about what they do. I know they could probably make more money down the road at like McDonald's, but they want to do the meaningful work that is working to just enrich and better our students' lives in whatever way possible, whether they are working in the classroom, in the cafeteria, cleaning the schools, in the offices, in the mechanical rooms, everywhere. And I also wanted to speak on the dedication of my aide, my instructional assistant, Sheena Barron, and of the wonderful staff at Southern who come in. They work so hard day in and day out. And Sheena, she's so hardworking, so caring, and so dedicated. And she supports me, and she's the reason why I can do my job effectively. And so I would love to see her and every support staff compensated with a dollar amount raise. So I very much appreciate everything y'all do, and thank you for hearing me out.
Well, thank you
That's
for
pretty
sharing
much
with us
it.
today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, number 6, consent agenda items A through H.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 7, construction report. Is Tony?
Fundraisers.
Huh? Oh, did I miss?
No,
Oh, that was in
part
the
of the
consent
consent.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, yeah.
Thought I saw Tony.
I thought Tony was here.
Okay, well, yeah, so,
back.
Yeah.
yeah, we can circle back.
We don't have to make an agenda change.
Okay, all right, let's skip ahead to number 8, student achievement report. Good evening.
To go before Tony today. All right, so today I just wanted to propose our instructional budget for the 2026-2027 school year. And so I have 2 items there. I have one just so you can see a comparison from last year to this year, or from this year to what's proposed for next year. And then I also have the one that I normally provide you that gives the description of each of the items that we purchase to support our teachers and our student learning in the classroom. So if you want to look at the one that's comparing last year to this year, so the first item that you'll look at is assessments. You'll see that there are no changes proposed for next year for the assessments that we use. The only difference that you may see is Horizon. It's the same company. They've just changed names to Progress Learning, which is the platform where we do our ACT or this year SAT, depending on what the state asks us to do. But it assesses our students and as well gives them real-time data as well as lessons to promote their performance on that. And so you can see a little bit of a change in the fund balance only just because, things get more expensive every year. And then the next piece that you will see is instructional software. And so that's really looking at, not only do we assess in iReady, but we also provide our teachers with the teacher toolbox. One thing that we are pivoting for next year is in the past, we've paid for that for kindergarten through 8th grade, but with the implementation of HQIRs in math and reading, we've decided to scale that back to K-5. We do have some students, some teachers that use it for special education, but we worked with iReady and we can get just specific license just for those students and teachers to have access. In addition, Alex is the intervention program that we use for high school for math. We're taking down those number of license for next year. Mystery Science is what we use for our HQIR for science instruction. Common Lit is a assessment that we use for assessment and teaching for English. And so we are going to add the assessment piece to that for next year for middle school. And then you do see a shift. We have used Pathful for the last 2 years for our ILP compliance. It's not been a great program. Our teachers have given us a lot of feedback that they didn't love it. So we're going to try a different program called School Links, and you can see that. So you can see that the pricing for instructional software has gone down just by a little bit from $112,000 to $93,000.
About the ILP, is that what I still remember where the students have to put in their information?
Yes.
They're creating sort of a resume.
Yes, they do an interest inventory that kind of starts to guide them to think through what careers they want.
At the risk of stating, at the risk of being too honest, is it as useless and wasteful in time as it used to be? I'm serious. I mean, it's a state mandated thing. I'm not, there's nobody I'm not fussing about.
No, you're right. It's become such a compliance piece. I think the intention is good to get students thinking, but it's become very compliant. One of the things that we liked about the School Links program is, yes, it will fulfill that requirement for us, but also it offers a lot of other services that we can utilize. It has a CCR suite, which will help our counselors tracking career and college readiness. In addition, some other possible positive components of the program.
Well, yeah, that's
So-
good to hear. I just remember when it first rolled out X number of years ago, it wasn't there 15 minutes, and we were all going, geez.
And it's been like that my entire career.
And that's,
Right, I mean-
yeah,
Yeah.
that's been what we've tried to wrestle with, is trying to figure out, look, if we have to do this, let's make sure that it's
There's
beneficial as
something of
possible.
value.
Yes.
And I know at one point we were able to create, we were working with a program that literally did help the students so that when they graduated, they could print off a resume.
Yes.
It put that sort
And-
of together for them as a
And
process.
Pathful had the capability to do that. Unfortunately, the company is in Asheville, North Carolina, and when the hurricane came through and the flooding, all of their infrastructure got impacted, and they've just not been able to recuperate. Yeah, and so that's why we are also pivoting to a new company. Yeah.
And you said 15,000 covering, who is DP?
Oh, that's driving possibilities.
Okay.
Yep. Yes.
Students take this every year from 6th to
Yes,
12th
it is
or certain-
required from 6th grade through 12th grade. It's not something they take. It's an individual learning plan, and so it's really a plan that you put together to guide a student towards that, whatever their post-secondary goals may be, whether it's a certain type of career, whether it's college, it's building a resume. Really, that it really does have good intention. It's been around, 20 years easily. But it's become something that is just a checkbox. And that's not just a Scott County, it's across the state. But we're hoping to try to make it more intentional.
So it's state mandated, but different schools may
But
use
unfunded, yeah.
different.
Different platforms. Yeah, there's not a required platform to do it on. It's just required and not provided funding to take care of that requirement. So, yes. All right. So next we will look at the HQIR instructional materials. And this is where you're going to see a shift in some of the programming that we are doing. The first piece, as you can see, is the Ready Classroom workbooks. So you can see that in the past we've had a pretty substantial grant that has paid for all of those student workbooks in the hands of our kindergarten through fifth students. That grant is almost to depletion, so we will have to pick up the cost of those workbooks in the student's hand. And of course, those are consumables, so it will be a financial need moving forward if we are staying committed to students actually having the materials in the hands and it not just being digital in kindergarten through fifth grade. You will also see on the next line item is the magnetic reading, and that's what we use for third through fifth. And you can see that I have on there that is not the HQIR. It's not a approved HQIR, and I'll get to why. Because to be on the approved list, it has to be comprehensive. So that means it not only touches your reading, as in like your phonemic awareness, your vocabulary, your comprehension, all of that component. It also includes writing and grammar. So it's a fully comprehensive. And so we've actually had really good results with it not being on the HQR in third through fifth. And so we're going to continue that. And because right now it's working, and I'll kind of get into more detail about why we're going to hold on third through fifth when you see the price tags of the approved HQIRs for the state of Kentucky. So if you look, so one of the things that in the next, and you see the blue box that I have around that. So one of the things that we have done, as you all know, we've put a lot of investment in what we are doing with our young students in regards to learning to read through Orton Gillingham and Haggerty, which is not a comprehensive because it is solely focused on phonemic awareness and phonics. And then we have supplemented the comprehension and vocabulary with a program called Ready Reading. And I have a couple of kindergarten teachers back here who can probably echo this. The feedback we've gotten from our kindergarten through second grade teachers is they do not love Ready Reading. And so
That's the one that's not.
The one we're going away from.
The one we're going away from. So the first thing that we did is first we gave them iReady, or Curriculum Associates, now has a new comprehensive K through 5 technically reading program called Magnetic Literacy. So it's the magnetic we're using in 3 through 5, but now this one is approved, so it's comprehensive, so it has everything. First, we had some kindergarten, first and second grade teachers look at magnetic literacy as a possible movement towards a better HQIR. But one of the concerns when they looked at that is it's comprehensive. So if we went towards that, we would be saying goodbye to Orton Gillingham and Haggerty, and our teachers love teaching that for phonics and phonemic awareness.
And not to mention, go ahead.
No, go ahead, not to mention.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
But can't they still use the concept? If they.
I have to do a waiver to do anything that's not an approved HQR. Hold on, we'll get to that.
okay,
Yeah, okay.
okay.
All right.
Well, then, I was just going to say too that not to mention the fact that we've got folks that are trained in it, and that, the shift in terms of time, but also there's been a pretty significant financial commitment to that.
Yes, yes, we have spent a lot of money, and I would, yes.
Well, go, no, go ahead.
Okay, let me finish this and then we'll kind of pause. How's that sound?
Sorry.
Okay, yeah, all right. So one of the things, and Orton Gillingham is, and you could use the concepts, but all the materials that we've purchased, all of the training materials, teacher materials, like all of that, we would be going at the risk of going way wayside with that if we went with a comprehensive. And so listening to our teachers, they do not want to go away from OG and Haggerty at kindergarten and first grade. So that being said, I took the time over Christmas break and started looking at approved HQRs that are not comprehensive. And I found one, and then another one is, I think it's now approved, which is called Arts and Letters, and the other one it was called Wit and Wisdom. So the next thing that we did is we got samples of that and got training and let our principals, our elementary principals, look at that. So then, based on that, then we had a room full of kindergarten and first grade teachers then look at Wit and Wisdom and Arts and Letters. And it was unanimous, and Daisy was there. Yeah. It was unanimous from both our principals and our teachers that they would like to go the route of Wit and Wisdom in kindergarten and first grade, because it's the balance of they will still do OG or Orton Gillingham and Haggerty for phonics and phonemic awareness. Arts and Letters will get that that true art of wanting to read, right? And you'll see on there it's a hefty cost. It's around $310,000. However, $204,000 of that is physical books in the hands of kids. So that way, that is a one-time library cost for that program. And so. It's not a work. They have a workbook, but each unit comes with multiple books that are the library. And the big cost of this one is that if not every student, every 2 students actually, so they're either sharing one book or they each have their own book. And so that is the true cost of that program. It teaches in themes. It's very thematic. And it's a solid program. And so based on the feedback from the principals, based on the feedback from our kindergarten and first grade teachers, they really would like to have the Arts and Letters. It is an approved KDE HQR. It is a green rated HQR, which is the best. And so you can see that is an expensive endeavor. Now, I will tell you, when you look at our already data in kindergarten, first grade, and second grade, our weakness is comprehension, vocabulary. And we've been tracking that data. We don't make changes just because we're on a whim. But it is showing, the data is trending that we need to do something better than what we currently are in kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. And so that's that proposed change. Now, if you notice, the line above that is magnetic reading, which is not comprehensive and is not an approved HQR. So you see the cost difference between the two. It's significant. So that also leads to the next component. So right now, our data in 3 through 5 is really strong. And so based on principal feedback, I think our teachers are happy with magnetic reading right now, the non-comprehensive. So why change right now? So what we have decided is that because our second grade teachers really liked magnetic literacy, and they also felt that it would be a good transition from OG and Haggerty in first grade towards magnetic in third grade. So we all determined that second grade would be a perfect group to pilot to see if the investment is worth it to invest in an approved HQR for not just second grade, but second, third, fourth, and fifth. And right now, I'll continue to do a waiver for magnetic reading in 3 through 5, because we're getting results with it. The risk that we run is, does Curriculum Associates go away from it now that they have an approved HQR? So right now we're getting results. It is going to be in place for next year. So we'll continue moving forward. And if the data continues to show that our students are performing with that non-approved HQR in 3rd through 5th, then I don't see the need to make that huge investment, because you can see it's moves from $10,000 per grade level to an approved HQIR, and you'll see there for second grade of around $45,000 per grade level. So significant increases when you move to that HQIR on the approved list.
But is it kind of like you get what you pay for?
We do, and that's why we don't want to go full in right now with magnetic literacy in all the way through 5. Let's try it with a grade level first. Our second grade teachers are saying they don't want to do ready reading anymore. It's very clear. And so let's try it with second grade, and let's watch the data and see if we get what we pay for, and then we can relook at 3rd through 5th grade
I do
literacy.
think what we're seeing though too is that the market's reflecting a premium on KDE approved HQIR. So
Yeah, because they know it's a
Right.
racket.
it's
That's
Yeah,
what's
that's
frustrating me, and
Mhm.
that's my question. 'Cause
Mhm.
Talk to me like I'm stupid, because I'm kind of feeling it. Is HQIR, is that what you and I would have called a textbook? And the accompanying materials?
Yes, only on a special approved list.
Right.
And I will say that this is not just a Kentucky thing. When you go to other states, this is a trend across the nation. I know in Texas they call them HQIMs, but basically these
Is it-
if
companies.
you've been tracking any of the talk about Mississippi
Oh,
and
yeah.
all of the data and all that,
Well, Texas drove, Mississippi changed the model.
Mhm.
But Texas drove the textbook world for decades because they were
Mhm.
buying the bulk of the textbooks. So if they wanted it to be conservative, or if they want to make sure there was a whole chapter on the Alamo,
Then they can.
then I had to teach it too, because that's
Yep.
what was in my textbook.
Yep.
But, I walk into a classroom 20 years ago and they hand me this textbook, American Pageant, you're teaching AP US History, here's your textbook, and here's the accompanying materials, go.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever gave me an HQIR.
Yep.
I was in my room and I had to look up the material and figure out how to teach
Yep.
the Civil War or
Yeah.
Lincoln's assassination or
Yep.
the Alamo.
Yeah.
So if I looked it up online and found this great activity to use to teach my students about a unit in history, pardon my French, but what the hell did KDE care, and why were they getting involved? with
Well,
this?
I
I'm trying to
think
figure out
some
what the
of
difference is. Were
so
they
back
approving
at when
textbooks
we
then?
started, so when we started teaching,
Yeah.
I think all of us who are teachers, we had textbooks,
Right.
which are
not
okay.
everybody did.
Not everybody did. Okay,
Yeah,
I
when
did.
first started.
So-
And when I first started, now
Because
it-
that's another piece to this is the world that, now we're trying to make sure we're setting up folks to have something when they walk in the door, whereas when I walked in the door, I had nothing.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
had to figure out,
Yeah,
I had to
Yeah.
backwards plan everything I did.
had a textbook.
Well,
So
I
some of the
taught
things you're,
I taught special education I started in the elementary world, and for reading and math and science and social studies, we had a textbook,
Yeah, me
right?
too.
And so what has happened is I think that those of us who had that, and I remember teaching, and my first year especially, I followed that like it was my Bible because I didn't know
Sure.
what I was doing. They could give me the standards, but I couldn't. And then as I became experienced, I knew what worked within that textbook and I knew what didn't, and you supplement and you pull and all of those things. Well, we've shifted to now you have teachers who are young teachers who are graduating from college, some graduating without a degree in education. And what it has shifted to is then we say, here are the standards, figure it out.
Right.
So what has happened, and I know that my team can speak for this, 4 years ago, we could go into a classroom, and if it's not a seasoned teacher who knows the standards, who is able to pull all those resources, who maybe started like us with a textbook in front of them, who have done it well, to brand new teachers who are trying to do the same thing without that knowledge. And we have been in classrooms where we have seen teachers thinking that they're doing what's best because they're pulling from teachers, pay teachers, or whatever, and they're not teaching to the grade level standard. Because they don't know. I mean, we weren't trained to analyze standards and figure out what meets that standard. And so I think we're on this pendulum swing back to the need for this, especially with, you have a lot of this with the science of reading. And And we've realized that there's an equity issue. If I am in Wendy's classroom, if my child's in Wendy's classroom who has been teaching for 25 years, or I'm in Stephanie's classroom who has been teaching for 2, maybe, who maybe even didn't graduate with an education degree and is going through an option 6, there's an equity issue between the child that's in Wendy's classroom and the child that's in my classroom. And
But that's been the case.
right.
That's always been the case.
But with an HQIR, at least everyone has the same base.
Well,
Sure.
I want to chime in on the HQIR because it's a little bit more than just a textbook. I mean, it really, you don't have to think about how to teach it. It really tells you how. Where when we had textbooks as teachers, it was just like, here, go. You just got the material. And then, as you said, we were spending hours finding
Working on the
materials.
activity.
Yep.
I can say this is our second year using the HQIR. I was in a different school, so I've been in 2 different schools teaching the same HQIR, the same grade level, and my kids who are 70% Hispanic are rocking it. And I feel that it's because I have high quality
That was
material.
going to be my question. Do you think that's a
That's
positive
what it
too,
is.
or a
It's
positive?
a high quality. Well, I'm good. I ain't gonna say that I'm not.
That's what I know. That's what I know.
If you get me, you getting the best. But I know that last year I was still good, but I couldn't reach that student that was low, or I couldn't reach the student that had a different language barrier. Well, I won't go there because it's a different district, but I had to dig in and learn how to use that HQIR. Once I learned how to use it, my child that could not read at the beginning of the year is reading. I had 127% increase on iReady.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Do you feel, though, in any way that your autonomy as an educational professional is
Autonomy is
pulling you a little
baloney.
bit?
Autonomy is baloney. Autonomy is baloney.
Okay.
Because when you walk into that classroom, you close the door, you can do what you want to. People kill me with that autonomy stuff.
No,
As
I'm
long
just
as
thinking
you are
about
working
myself.
and you doing.
Right. But
Yeah.
I think my
Yeah.
point is, if you are an educational professional and you
You're going to do
have
what you got to do.
right, you have a
Yeah.
vision for how you
I
want
want
to
to. I will say this, and I think that the art of teaching.
All right.
The art of teaching is by giving someone material and how you are able to present that and convey that to your children to learn. That's the art. And what we've shifted away from is instead of saying, you don't have to worry about finding all stuff. I don't want you spending your entire planning period searching for something to teach. We want you to spend time digging in to how to take that material
the motivating
and motivate and get kids connected and get them hooked and all of that component. And so I think that's what is the value of an HQR, but also like because the first, we've navigated this with our teachers. The first year you are to teach it with fidelity, right? Because you don't know what does work and what doesn't.
That's
and-
our approach.
Yes.
It's been our approach. Not every district, I think.
Yeah,
Well,
and it
it's
should be
technically
every district, but
KDE's
it's not.
guidance as
Yeah.
well,
investing all
but
this money, it should
Right.
be.
yeah, if you follow the implementation protocol, the first year you do it with fidelity, right? And you'll see that kind of mimicked in all of this. And you've seen it over the last few years. We do a pilot. Let's try it. Let's figure it out. Let's do it. And then on the other side of that pilot, then we will put the investment because then your teachers have taught it. So, for example, our middle school teachers, this is the first year they've done illustrative mathematics with fidelity. And you'll see in this, they've done it in the first year. I gave them money to make color prints, like print in color if they needed it, right? So then they've taught it, and now they've come back to us and they've said, okay, we need this in support, and we've got to figure some stuff out. And so then proposing to up that budget because they've done it. Now they know, like one of the things that we'll just say IM, for example, is that they are like, we've got to have something with more practice. So on the 20th, they're coming and looking at 3 different options of different programs to supplement because now they know. They've taught it. They've figured that out. And I think it's the same with and we've got teachers in the room. The first year you do it and then you figure it out and then you're able to pull in. But if next year I have a brand new teacher coming, they need to do it with fidelity for that first year.
But here's another benefit that I think sometimes I have seen is our teachers that don't maybe need to lean on the HQR quite as heavily, we're still helping them because the teachers that need it aren't leaning on them as much for all those things.
I want to say this really because this is I want to add to that point, Billy. I had a teacher and that was doing the HQR implementation this year, and they were not happy about it because they were a good, amazing teacher, right? They'd been able to figure all that out. And so we get through, we're probably in about March, and she said to me, I didn't know I was in a rut until I did this.
And you need to change it up.
And so I think that just speaks about volumes. I mean, that you make pivots.
Yeah,
and
I'm just trying to get my mind around. I think what's getting me, I'm trying to compare that to like the days of the textbooks.
Sure.
I guess the state KDE approved textbooks too back
I
then.
guess, yeah.
When the school was, it's time to choose the new math textbooks.
Yep.
It's your turn.
Yeah, and I'm sure they
got
probably
KDE
gave a
approved.
list. Yep.
I guess it's in the back of my mind. I'm just wondering why KDE gets to approve.
And it's not like they just say, "Oh, that's the one." Like it's a very intense process for a instructional resource to get on that list. It's not like willy nilly. Like they have a lot of that they have to prove.
That that's a political thing, or that there's any.
Well, I mean, HQRs are required by legislation, so.
Right, and they approve them and all this
There's
stuff.
some of that's really
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just worries me.
Sure.
I don't know.
I completely understand.
But I mean, as a teacher that's using it and been teaching for 29 years, I'm happy. I don't have to stay up lesson planning. I can make cute slides.
Yeah, I get that as a compliment.
Well, and also, I do want to say, our teachers are still a part of helping make these decisions. Like this K through 2 only has come about because of feedback from our K through 2 teachers that have been saying, we don't like ready reading.
And that's the part that I've really appreciated with
Yeah,
the
I
way
do. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the way that Stephanie and her team has provided this is we're looking at data, but we're also looking at valuing input from our folks.
And the
People that are
consistency
actually dealing
Yeah.
with
across
it
the
and getting-
board.
getting-
Yep.
I
Yeah.
really like the consistency.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that moves into the next piece of, so we've been, we've done a lot about reading and math over the last few years. So we've started to look at science and social studies. So it blocked in red, you can see that for this school year, we've done a pilot. I have TCM on here, but we ended up going with Savvis for our pilot. And because I will say this also came about because 5th grade social studies teachers were saying, we need something, right? And so we tried Savvis, and everybody hated it. So that's why you do a pilot. So then, so we brought in all representative from each school from 5th grade social studies. And we looked at 2 different programs, and they had the opportunity to really dig in, to teach a lesson or a unit. And we tried 2. We tried TCI, or History Alive, which Billy and I both taught when we were in elementary school. Yep. And then we also tried a new one that's called Inquiry Journeys. And it was also excellent. But based on, we gave them time to try it, and then they sent me their feedback after spring break, and it was unanimous that they wanted to go with the TCI, or History Alive. Yeah. But also one of the things that we realized, especially in having those conversations with our teachers, is the 5th grade social studies assessment doesn't just assess 5th grade standards. You're going to have questions on there from from lower grade levels. So you'll see that we have Social Studies Weekly, which is like a periodical. It's and I've let some of our teachers in K through 4 look at that. I think they're all really excited. The tight next year is that they do science or social studies. They have that fit in their schedule, and they need to spend at least 35, 40 minutes. And so that social studies weekly is just really making sure that we have some type of material in kindergarten through 4th grade before they get to 5th grade. So we're really excited about it. Our 5th grade teachers really love History Alive. And so we're excited to implement that for next year. You will also see Schools PLP, which is our platform for SCOLA, for PHC, SCAP, for credit recovery. It's our online product. You'll see I've highlighted it in blue because we're still in negotiations because they've upped the price thanks to their AI addition. So I'm still in negotiation with them because I wasn't very happy that they upped their price that much. So anyway, so give me time to work my
To be
magic.
determined.
I'll get it down further. We always give money for instructional materials just for the principal discretion at Great Crossing, Scott County, and ECS, and we allow them to make the decisions that they want just because there are so many different things taught at the high school level. Open SciEd, you can see that's going to be our science HQIR for 4th grade and then 6th through 11th. This year we piloted it. The actual teaching of it is free. So Kelly Beckett and Deborah Reed have really worked with our teachers. There is a lot of the units have consumables and non-consumables and teacher manuals. So making sure that we budget now that we're going to go full implementation for them to, because especially with consumables, we don't, sometimes teachers are really, they just go and pay for those out of their own pocket. And so try to make sure we are budgeting so that they are not spending money out of their own pockets on that. You heard me mention that we piloted that last year, and you can see I've budgeted. We've not decided what we want to do. There's been some talk about getting classroom sets of the workbooks. There are some different vendors that they want to look at, but we're doing that on the 20th. So I've budgeted $50,000 to give those teachers the teacher manuals and the supports that they need to teach that. And then we have a Sound Sensible pilot, which is it's a MTSS. It's part of our Tier 3 intervention system that we are going to pilot. So you can see it is a definite increase, but you also see that I've noted that just over 200,000 of that is one-time consumables. And then you look down professional learning. I really just put that on there. That doesn't come out of our general fund budget. I pay for it out of Title II. But I want you to see that, yes, we're providing these, but they all come with professional development because, as Wendy said, we want our teachers to have time to really dive into these and have that professional support, professional learning support to teach it. So the overall cost would be for instructionals is $1,367,597.03. So roughly that's $137 per student for instructional materials for Scott County students. So yeah, then also like moving forward, Billy and I've had this conversation, really we've tried to layer in when we provide these HQIRs, so it's not just all a one big hit at a time. I think the only thing really left to navigate after this year is, of course, pending what happens with 3rd through 5th with literacy. And then also we have not started navigating social studies for secondary. So that's something now that we have Kelly Beckett, who is a social studies teacher at heart. And she's going to start navigating that with our secondary teachers. Because again, we really want their feedback and their input, and because, they're the ones that are teaching it every day. And so making sure that they help us make that decision. So
Stephanie, when you're talking about a one-time library cost, what does that really mean?
So for especially arts and letters, one of the things, especially in K through 2, the students, it's more than just reading from a student workbook.
Right.
It's those actual physical books
So when you're saying that, does that go to that individual school? Is it just as a whole? Part?
Yes,
How does
so
that
it's,
work?
we price it per teacher
Okay.
and per classroom.
And then how often do we need to update that? Do we know at this point?
And I'll be honest with you, in looking at the libraries that come with them, a lot of them are just great books that have been long standing since I was a child. And so, until we change the HQR, the curriculum, that library stays.
Okay.
And the
You
good
keep it
news is
forever.
that regardless of if we did change, it's still
It's
good
still part of
classroom
it.
library.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Still,
yeah.
And this, of course, will include our new school as well.
Yes.
Right? That's already included in this particular
Well,
price.
no, I haven't priced for Oxford because Oxford wasn't going to be open.
Okay.
So
All right.
I originally, whenever I was, because we start working on this, and I mean, we've been working through Christmas break on this, which you can tell, you can ask Paul Kruger whenever I might have had some sticker shock whenever I got the quotes over Christmas break for what the approved HQ hours cost. But I will say, one of the other things, especially in kindergarten through fifth grade, we could save a lot of money by only making this digital. But we have been committed since I started here that the importance of having the materials in the hands of our students. That a lot of this cost is consumable student workbooks. And so for all of our elementary students to get a new workbook every year is a costly endeavor. But I think now the research is starting to catch up that it's important that kids just aren't on screens. And so yeah, there's a cost to that. But I know in my professional opinion that having the physical materials in the hands of our young learners is very important.
Do you see the copy toner and copy and all that? Has it gone down? Pricing because you have these HQRs and materials.
I would probably need to look at that at the
Yeah.
school level, other than giving them. I mean, they're the ones that are really
They would know.
housing
Well, I
that
just know
cost.
as a teacher,
Yeah,
I don't make very many copies.
Yeah.
Like I used to.
That,
Yeah.
and that would be
Oh, yeah.
something that wouldn't come out of your budget.
It wouldn't
It'd
come out of
be
my
our-
budget.
It'd be coming out of the school's
budget.
Section 6
But
budget
I will
likely.
tell you this: I feel like if it was, trust me, our principals would be telling me, because they always tell me when things cost money, because they normally want me to pay for it.
Right, of course.
But yeah, so I've not heard that, but anyway, so it's a great investment to have high quality materials in the hands of our teachers and our students.
One of the things, first, early on, I felt like I was feeling it a little bit from some of our folks that they felt like there was a lot of change all at once. And again, you'll remember, Leader in Me was one of those things that it came a year before I really wanted it to come because of the price, the significant cost savings we could get with it. But really, since the beginning, we've stuck to what we said from the beginning was important. We haven't deviated from that. And really, the only deviation we've had over the years is with regard to instructional resources. And that's a part of the approach was in the sense of the cost that comes with it. Part of it was in the fact that, we didn't even have guidance in some areas there weren't any resources to go after. And part of it is in trying to just be cognizant of not trying to put too much on teachers at once. Again, I agree with you. I think that having the resources available for them to lean on is important, but at the same time, changing every single thing
Right.
in 1 year
It's
is a
hard.
lot too.
Yeah, it was
So
very stressful
my
last
hope
year.
is that our staff would be able to say, yeah, everything he's saying, that's spot on. We've stuck to the same things we've said we were going to do for years, and really outside of instructional resources, that's probably about the only thing that they would feel like changes from year to year to year.
Yep. Yep.
Well, I just want to add this, and I can say it as a teacher and as a school board member. People need to make sure they're using these $1 million resources.
Agreed. And our principals are really
Yeah.
good in they in their learning walks, in our learning walks, we are monitoring that's
Yeah.
being utilized and that we're seeing that. And I'll be honest, our teachers have been amazing about, if I go into Scott County High School or Great Crossing High School or Royal Spring math classrooms, I see IM. And they've been really great about trusting that process. And so and like Billy said, making sure like And two, their only change this year, other than the periodicals for social studies, is just that reading. And so try not to overwhelm people by changing it all at once.
And I
So,
just thank you and your team for giving the professional learning, because a lot of times people don't like the materials because they don't know how to use them.
right, right,
Yeah.
right.
And
right.
and once they do,
Game changer.
we using $1 million.
Yeah. Well, we thank you all for investing in it. So,
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for bringing this to the
Yeah.
table
Good
for
job.
us. Yes, thank you. Good discussion.
We're the clapping this bunch of people today. We're just.
Oh my,
Do you mind if I was just gonna? I had forgotten.
no, go ahead.
I had for construction report. I had forgotten right after our last meeting. Tony had mentioned that he's got multiple. This is a little bit outside the norm for our meeting schedule. Normally we're later, and where we've moved it up. He had mentioned. I totally forgot.
Just
But
gotta
he
add
had
that in
mentioned
there.
about not being able to make it because he had another school board. And again,
Mm-hmm.
we're in a little bit of a different space, and it's just been 2 weeks. And I'll talk a little bit about Tony here in a minute because I've got some brags to give some
Yay.
people when I get there. But anyway, sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Number 9, approve to create one section 7B district-wide 4T Academy teaching position.
Move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 10, approve to create the following positions 10A through 10C.
Move to approve.
Second.
Sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Number 11, review, approve district-wide readiness coach job description.
Move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 12, approve the 2026-2027 salary schedule.
Move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 13, approve district wellness plan.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 14, approve 2026-2027 cooperative membership agreement, KEDC.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 15, approve Section 6 carryover allocations to fiscal year 2027.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 15, approve Section 6 carryover allocation to fiscal year 2027.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 16, approve the 2026-2027 tentative budget.
Move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 17, approve fiscal year 2026 committed funds.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 18, approve surplus items as submitted.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 19, approve current bills.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 20, superintendent report.
So under, again, it's just been a couple of weeks, so not quite as much to talk about. But Stamping Ground had their gateway presentations. I walked in the door, and the first one I had was a kid who had he had an IRA, and he had a business license, like a legit Georgetown Scott County Revenue Commission business license. Yes, it was impressive.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, I put that under strategic leadership because that little gentleman, I'm going to probably try and find a way to pull him into to some things we've got kind of in the hopper moving forward. But they did a phenomenal job, and really those gateway presentations again, just for the audience, are ways for students to demonstrate how they are able to demonstrate the profile of a learner through their learning and their experiences. I shared this with Ms. Duncan, but I'll share it with you all today as well. What kept coming up, I kept hearing about these freaking quesadillas. Kids were cooking quesadillas all over the place, and that was what they leaned on as how they were demonstrating that they were a learner. And I was like, are they all in one class? And was this like a cookie cutter kind of thing where the teacher just said, I'm going to do this so that they can say that this helped them be a learner or something? So I asked some questions. No. In fact, what they did is 4-H came in, and 4-H, the kids asked, the part of the way that it worked out, they were like, we're going to be here. What are some things that you would like to do? They wanted to sew, they wanted to cook, and does anybody in here know what the third thing was? There were 3 things. Sew, cook, and I can't remember the third thing. Anyway, so because of the cooking aspect, they cooked quesadillas. My youngest daughter cooks quesadillas all throughout the entire summer. So I just was kind of blown away, but I guess for a lot of kids in 5th grade, they're not thinking about that. But what was awesome is what got 4-H in Stamping Ground Elementary was the teacher-to-teacher grants that the teachers in that building had an opportunity for. And I just thought that was it was a neat little connection, and I just wanted to make sure that that Susan knew that. And I wanted to let you all know that too. Again, like we talked about today with instructional resources, like we talk about with everything, we try to be really precise and strategic with everything that we're doing. And I don't know. I just thought that was really happy. Yeah, it was cool.
Do all 5th graders across the district do the Gateway presentation?
Yeah, and
Same. I saw them doing it there, so I was wondering if this was site-wide.
yeah. Now, does Gateway presentations replace their passion projects there? Do you know? Yeah. Okay, they're still doing that.
Well,
Okay. Okay. Because they, and again, that's the thing is every school was at different places when we started this, so it's, I don't know. We've got some schools that are a little further along with this than others, but yeah, when I walked in and I looked around at the people that were with me, and I was like, are all of them like this one little gentleman? And they were all pretty good, but his probably, I would have to say, takes the cake, but it was good stuff. Also was able to participate in the Amazing Shake. I do that every year, but I usually do that every year at Lemons Mill. I will do that at Lemons Mill next week, but Creekside is participating, and this was their first year doing the Amazing Shake, and so they did a phenomenal job. Principal Patterson and her bunch, they did great. They had people from Lemons Mill there to help give feedback and participate. It was a really, really great event. I'm glad to see all of our schools really focusing in on those things, those soft skills for kids. Under cultural leadership, we had our employee awards program, and the last time I saw Miss Weber, she was being so passionate. They had a tattoo. What was it? Tattoo day. It was a tattoo a teacher fundraiser at school, and so she showed up tatted out. She had neck tats and tats. I mean, it was. That's right. It was. So, I mean, and they were pretty good. They were so good, I was making sure that they weren't, like, real. I was just, when you came in today, I was like, were any of those? Yeah. Well, so anyway, we had an opportunity to honor a bunch of our teachers and employees, and it was a great program. That's something that Renee has headed up for us and does a phenomenal job with, and just a chance to, we try to be careful not to go too long. We want to honor everybody's time, but we want to make it a worthwhile event where everybody can really, truly feel how much we appreciate what they do for us. Skipping down to managerial leadership, I didn't have anything to do with the summer feed planning, but I know it's an important topic, and it's one that we will be making sure we get the word out there for everybody. And I just commend Director Christy Collins for all the work that her and her team have done, and thank you to Stephanie Emmons for the help there. Helping to make sure that we've got that bridging that gap between our operational and our instructional team where everybody's on board. Big plans, really excited about the direction that it's going, and I just look for it to grow year in and year out. So, yes. And then collaborative leadership. So, the Southern Time Capsule.
And I missed it.
Well, you
No, you
haven't.
I didn't miss
You haven't.
anything?
You haven't missed anything.
You haven't. You haven't.
Oh.
You haven't. Is the event is the 24th? Is that 26th? Okay.
It's gonna be a minute.
So
Yes.
May 26th, What's the time? Okay. So now that we are in a good spot, we can talk about this publicly. So we, you know, we were in preparation. We wanted to make sure we were able to find it very easily, and it was not in disrepair and all the things. So I think it was last week. We dug for it, and we dug in the place that we thought it should be, and some places where some people that were on site when we did the addition in 2003 to 6-ish, that range, were on site. We uncovered all kinds of different pictures and plans, and we didn't find it the first time around. We then implemented technology. You know, we pulled in some ground penetrating radar. We went, I mean, outside of tearing up concrete, we went pretty hard at this. So today we were kind of at the end with it. Now this is where I wanted to pull Tony into this. Again, we've got a number of people that were part of this. Now I tried to put the blame on Greg and Heath because they were here when 2005 that renovation took place. So I said, look, y'all were here, so I'm blaming you all if we can't find it. But in truth, they were out there helping us to recover it. One piece of data that really helped us was in talking through this and going through plans with Tony. And again, this is not work Tony was paid for. This is just me reaching out saying, Tony, we're in a bad spot. And Tony said, well, take a look at this. And he pulled up a plan. And one factor we hadn't considered was, you wouldn't think it by looking at it, but they added another 18 inches to 24 inches of soil on top of the previous.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what happened was we had been in the right spot the whole time. We just didn't dig deep enough because the pictures, we saw pictures of it having been unearthed. And when it had been unearthed, it looked like 3 to 4 foot maybe deep. But in reality, it was more like 6.5 to the top of it. So
they wanted to bury it like a dead person.
So we did. We found it. So congratulations to everyone involved. Renee had a humongous part of this. Greg had a humongous part in this. Heath had a humongous part of this. Again, Tony had a humongous part in this. We were pulling in. Principal Keegan had a humongous part in this. We were pulling in. And for me, I started pulling in all kinds of people just for fun because I thought this will be, you know, because I was like, we're going to find it. But then we just started, you know, widening our net. Is there anybody I missed that I really need to? Well, I mean, we could go. The concrete company that made the vault. Yep. The museum. Yep. Scott. Yep.
Takes a village.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I suggested to Renee that they just give some shovels to fifth graders and give them some extra credit. They just start digging holes and see what happens, you know? But, hey, Josh.
Oh. He's like, no.
That's so exciting.
Yes, and I also learned that not everyone in the world knows what a 30 for 30 is. So ESPN does 30 for 30. They do these little documentaries about certain issues and relating to sports. And so, because I kept saying the whole time along, I was like, when we find this thing, I was like, I started videoing and taking pictures. So I was like, I'm going to do a 30 for 30 on this because the finding of the time capsule, yeah. But
It's kind of like what Geraldo Rivera did that
Yes.
decades ago when he'd found the.
yeah, that wasn't the direction I was taking it.
Yeah.
But-
And it wasn't. There was nothing in
There was
there.
nothing in there.
Yeah.
Alcohol.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
It was
okay.
huge
Yeah.
primetime special
Yeah.
live. They were going to bust into this vault.
Yes.
2 hours. And they busted into the vault and there was
And
literally
nothing.
nothing.
Well,
there.
and so that was our. We were worried. We were like, okay, well, what if we don't find it? Then what do we do? So we are very thankful we didn't have to go down that discussion rabbit hole. So again, that had to go under collaborative leadership because
Oh,
again,
yeah,
the volume
definitely.
of people. conversations, just all the
You get
things.
distinguished for that.
Yeah, and it's something like I thought. I will say this too. I thought let's not work on it during the school day because
Yeah, the
people will be
kids will
nosing
be-
around.
yeah.
Well, no, it was worse because I went out there last night with the tape measure and was measuring some things off, and I talked to half of the town because everybody was like, hey, what's going on? And it was good though because there was interest around it. I thought that was pretty cool. But yes, so I just again a number of people. I mean, we talked to people from Alliance. I mean, we talked to people from all over, and everybody. We've got people to call back now. It sounds like that we're like, I can't help you, but please call back because I want to know what you find. So,
So will there
It's-
be another one for the next 10 years?
well, this was a 50-year time capsule.
Oh, 50 years.
This was
Whoa.
this was buried in 1976, and then we had a addition renovation to Southern that happened around 20 years ago, which
That
is
was the
why it was
problem.
kind of
Yeah.
unearthed to make sure it was still there, and then I don't know if they moved it, if they didn't move it, but at any rate, it is where it
Yeah, I
you know
cannot
it was where it
remember.
was, and we thankfully have found it, have secured it, have it in a secure location to protect until we have an opportunity to make sure everything appears to be good. But it'll be a great event. We're really excited that we weren't going to have a wedding without the bride. So exciting times
That
there.
is exciting.
And then the last thing I did want to say, congratulations to I think Frank's worked this out to where this is his last one too. So Paul and Frank, their last board meeting. Yeah. So.
I bet.
Yeah, right.
And with that, I will say that concludes my superintendent's report.
All right.
All right.
Pretty good.
Thank you. All right, number 21, board comments. Becky, we'll start with you.
Okay, well, I don't want to steal Eleanor's thunder because we did an event together that we both really enjoyed, and she may want to say a little bit about it too. But recently, we went over to Elkhorn Crossing, and we have done this in previous years, and it's always just an honor to do it and very impressive. You just leave feeling so good about our students and their futures. But it's the health group there of students, juniors, and they are doing mock interviews with people from the community. And we were they wouldn't let Eleanor and me be together. They separated us, but
Oh, no.
anyway, but it was nice to meet some new people. And there were either 2 or 3 of us who were interviewing from different aspects in the community who'd done interviewing in the past. And the students would come in, anywhere from 3 or 4 of them, and they would present themselves. They would present a personal statement. They had a resume that we took a look at and evaluated. And then they talked about, we asked some questions that we might ask in a real interview, and they responded. And I think that was such a valuable experience for them. I would love to have had something like that. And overall, they were very prepared, very impressive. The only thing that I seem to say over and over, not to all of them, but to many of them, was resume looks good, but make sure you have some things on it other than just what you're doing academically. They would put their work experiences there, which are valuable, but they need to get involved at least in a few volunteer things in the community or school clubs. I know from being on a committee that evaluates students. Oh, that was the other thing I had to say. For scholarships, that when you submit students for scholarship, they are really looking for those extra things that the students are putting themselves out there to do. And that's a nice segue too. Yet again, our Eleanor and Wendy and I are in PEO, Professional Education Organization, and it is an international, because Canada is included, organization that is in every state, and we have a chapter here in Georgetown, and the main mission of it is to give scholarships to women to help them further their education. And there are about 5 different categories, but the one that I've been involved in is a STAR scholarship, where a senior girl who is planning to go to college can apply for the scholarship. It also involves our interviewing her and writing it up from our end, her writing it up from her end, and teacher input and all of that. And for the third year in a row, we have another scholarship winner, Evelyn Hoover, who outstanding young woman at Scott County High School, will be the recipient of the award this year. So we're very proud of that.
I'm so glad I'm not gonna miss the time capsule. Because as a kid, I lived across the street, and I'd walk across, and we would be looking at that stone and thinking, okay, one day it's gonna happen, so I cannot miss it. Next week, I will be going to Georgetown Middle School to celebrate Mr. Stowe, Mr. Jenkins, and Mr.
Heard about
Perkins.
that.
So I can't wait for that. And then I look forward to the graduation, because it's what we do, why we do what we do.
All right, thank you. Susan?
Thrilled to have 144 teacher-to-teacher grant applications this
Wow.
year.
Wow.
So a lot of exciting educational professionals with exciting ideas, and I can't wait to see and hear all that they have planned. Looking forward to the Amazing Shake next week. I will be there. I'll see you. And that you're so right. My mother taught at Southern. I went to Southern, and that little marker set in that front lawn of that school, and I can remember just being fascinated by what was in there. So I cannot wait to have it open. And I feel the same as you about the GMS guys. We went to school with them, and I still can remember at the end of my 7th grade year, the last day of school, racing down the hall to be the first one to get into Mr. Stowe's office to ask if I could do the books for the basketball team next year. And so I got to go to all the 8th grade boys basketball games, and the 7th grade boys basketball games, and ride the bus with them. So I could keep stats for the coaches, and I just thought that was the coolest thing in the whole world. I was a big old nerd, but I loved it.
Yeah.
So I appreciate them and remember them like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good times. And graduation's coming, and it is the main thing. So hope all of our little birds fly away safely and keep themselves together for the next 2 weeks so that they can.
Please. Eleanor?
Wendy and I did the Stamping Ground Gateway presentation. And it's just nice to be with, like, Wendy, I don't get to, Wendy.
Oh, okay. I'm like, Wendy.
You thought you were there.
You were there too. But it was very interesting. I, too, was very impressed with the 5th grade students. Get up there, I just picture myself years ago that being a 5th grader and getting up, I don't think, Josh, I don't think I could have done it. But the special one, and I'm sure Wendy or I had to leave, but there was a little girl that is a foster child, and she had said she was not going to do it. So then we learned that she was going to do it, and she did. It's just a very, very good job. But she's in a situation that really wants to go home, but she knows it's better for herself to stay in the foster situation. Isn't that right, Wendy? Okay, but I was very impressed with that. And I went to Stamping Ground, Elkhorn Crossing, as Becky said, and interviewed our for next year. They were wonderful. They were wonderful. Their eye contact, and they were just so assured of themselves, and I was very impressed with that. And I also next week will be at the Amazing Shake. There's one other school that anyway, usually I write it down, but I have just been so impressed. I just love going into school, seeing how things are working, and I can't wait. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Back to the agenda. Number 22, move to closed session pursuant to KRS 61.8101F.
So moved.
Revolve of, I've got Josh sitting here, I'm going to finish reading it. Revolve of expulsions, review of expulsions in pursuant to KRS 61.8101-1C, discussing pending litigation. Can I have moves?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Josh is going to get us blankets. Who wants?